Okay, good morning. This is what we're doing on December 2nd. Um, so the first thing we're going to do is write down our objective and the date on our warm-up paper. We are doing bell ringer number 6. So we've got this big triangle. I do not want you to fill out all of the pyramids, but I want you to look at all the triangles and detect a pattern, and based on this pattern, fill out this triangle. So if you look on your paper, it should be a little bit easier to read if it's hard to read here. I want you to look at all these triangles, figure out the pattern, and then fill out this triangle right here. So pause and do that. Okay, so you can see that this triangle says 3x, and this triangle says negative 2x, and this triangle up here just says x. Whereas negative 2 and negative 8, the one above those two triangles, is negative 10. So you might be able to tell that the triangle above is going to be two triangles below added together, which means that if we add positive x and negative 10x, this one up here will be negative 9x, and that's your answer for today's warm-up. Okay, so if you will turn in your notes to the page that says 1.4 angle measures, it looks like this. Find that page. That's what we're going to be doing today. Okay. So, let's make some observations about the segment below. Well, the first is that it has only one endpoint. It's not a line because it doesn't go on forever in both directions, but it's not quite a segment because it's got one definite endpoint and then one arrow, meaning that it has somewhere that it starts, but then it doesn't end. So this is called a ray. A segment that has one endpoint and then continues going in just one direction is called a ray. So when two rays have a common endpoint and go in different directions, that looks something like this. So we've got ray AB now, and AC, and it says to use R, X, and Y in your notes, but I went ahead and used A, B, and C, so we could use that same ray. So if you want to draw that in the space right here, if you want to draw that there, because that is what is going to be called an angle. Two rays with a common endpoint create an angle. Now, when lines intersect or segments intersect, they also create an angle. But this freestanding, just two rays together, is the most basic definition of an angle. So we want to label our parts. So on that, right here where you just drew your angle, you want to label your rays. Rays are the sides of the angle, and the vertex is the shared point. The vertex is where those two rays meet. So we've got our rays and our vertex. Make sure you label the rays and the vertex. And down here, this is where you want to write your definitions for rays. Rays are the sides, and the common point is the vertex. And that's that. Okay, so our next big question is, how do we name this thing right here? Okay, And if you would just drop a 1 down there on between the two rays, that would be very helpful for what we're about to do. So naming things is important, because if we don't name them properly, then we haven't told whoever we are communicating with exactly which part of a figure we're talking about. So it's very important that we make sure we name our angles properly. The very first way that you can name this figure is by the vertex. You could call this figure angle A. This is great for an angle like this, where there's just one angle in the figure. However, there might be multiple angles that we could make. Let's see if we did something like this. Well, now there's 3 different angles that we could be talking about if we talk about vertex A. So we don't want to do that. Another way that we could name these to be more specific is using 3 points. So we could call it BAC or CAB. A has to be in the middle because it is the vertex, and we could not say angle BA. We could not say that because that does not refer to a whole angle. That's just a ray. We have to have 3 points with the vertex in the middle so we know where we're starting and where we're ending, so we can specify an individual angle in the figure. So we can use 3 points as long as the vertex is in the middle. And that handy little 1 that you dropped between the rays, that is the 3rd way that we can name this. If there's a number inside the angle, we can just call that angle 1. Does order matter when writing angle names? What has to be true? We're going to jump back to 2 real quick. No, order does not matter, except that the vertex has to be in the middle. So order does matter. But we could go BAC or CAB. Just like in a line segment, we can switch these 2 around, but this one is important. The vertex has to be in the middle. So write that at the bottom of your paper. The answer to those questions are, as long as the vertex is in the middle, the other 2 points can be on either side. Okay, and that's the first page. Go to the next video for the second page of notes.